We've started a transmission flush filter gasket replacement on this 2011 Chevy Silverado. What you want to do is take all your bolts out facing the rear of the truck, leave the back bolts in and just loosen them a little bit. Take your hand and pull down on the oil pan where you got all the bolts out. It should start draining. That way it keeps all your fluid going right into your bucket. Let it drain for a while. And then start taking your back bolts out. That'll help you out a lot. If you're lucky, you'll have a drain right there. This one doesn't. The bolts are loose. I put an engine stand on the back of the transfer case here. It helps to give you just a little bit of room to clear that exhaust. There's still not enough room to take that pan out. So I'm gonna grab this transmission filter, wiggle it, get it out of its groove, pull it down, and then we should be able to come straight back with this pan. On this model, it's not gonna cooperate with us because that exhaust is too close. It hits the valve body up in there. If you don't have an engine stand, you can use a jack. Got it right there. Loosen the motor mount bolts and loosened one hanger on the exhaust. Might have to loosen another one. But I put a block of wood right there and lift it up here. That brings the transmission up, keeps the exhaust from coming up with it, and that'll give us enough room to slide the pan out. That was just enough room to get the pan out. I didn't have to disconnect the second hanger on the exhaust to give it more play, or have a helper press down on the exhaust some more. Let my pan drain. I'm gonna spray this valve body down, this where the gasket sits, get it nice and clean while I let my pan drain some more. Use aluminum or brass wire brush. You don't want to use a steel wire brush, could gouge it. So let's get that cleaned up. Got my transmission cleaned up. Now it's time to clean up the pan. You might find you get a reusable gasket with yours. That's always cool, you can reuse it. Now's a good time to check to see if you got any debris in your pan. This one's looking really clean. I'm gonna take a wire brush to these edges, clean it up, clean up the magnet. It's got some crud on it. That's normal. Give it a bath in the parts washer and get ready to reinstall it. All right, we got a reusable transmission pan gasket on this. Cleaned it up, checked it for cracks, deformity. Ridges feel good. I don't like using those cheap gaskets. Here's our oil filter. Here's the oil filter seal. I just dropped it on the ground. But anyways, I don't have my flashlight on, but there's a seal up in that hole. You're gonna wanna take it out, put your new seal in, get it flush in there. It's always recommended to replace those. Some people don't replace them, they just pop the new filter in. But all right, we're gonna go ahead and do that. Get that filter set in place. All right, we got our filter in there. The pan slid up in there easily. This gasket has little tabs to hold it in place. That's awesome. Everything's clean, ready to go. So we're gonna start putting the bolts back in. You don't wanna over torque these bolts. You can strip out the threads in there, in the aluminum. I've seen people do that. And you don't wanna mushroom the gasket. You don't wanna under torque them either. Look up your torque specs. I don't know them right offhand. So we're gonna put the bolts in and then put our motor mount back on, take our stand down, put the motor mount bolts back in from the bottom, take that block of wood out that helped us clear the pan, fill it up with 6 quarts of Dextron VI transmission fluid. That's what my chart's saying for pan drop. That's not the total fill. And we're gonna put a little bit of additive in it after every trans filter change and fluid change. I love to put some of this in it. It's great stuff. It's the best stuff you can buy in my opinion, just to make your transmission last longer. Run it, shift through the gears, double check the transmission fluid level, make sure we're good to go. Double check, make sure you don't have any leaks from the pan after you've topped it off and ran it. That should conclude this video.